So this is the continuation in lesson 22 where we learned about the different types of collisions. Now I'm going to show you a few things that we can change or a few variables that we can change. One of the first ones that we can do is we can see that we have this programmer running that when they hit that they're both are going to bounce off of each other. One of the commands that we can do, so for an example, I could go my parrot here and I'm going to type in bounciness. And I can set my bounciness equal to a value. If you watch this program run now, with a smaller number, you're going to see that the objects do bounce a little bit more, that they have a little bit more spring in their bounce. If I add that number to 10, we're going to increase that by tenfold. So that's one of the things that you can do is to alter the bounciness of this for bounce or bounce off of by setting this variable here. The next thing that I want to do is show you how we can set up our collider zones, because we've seen that sometimes that we have white space in between when we have this idea that they're supposed to be touching. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in my parrot debug, and I'm going to set that equal to true. Now, if you can recall what that does, and I'll show you, I want to copy it here first. I'm going to do the same thing down here for my penguin. So when I run my program, that's going to show me my collision zones that I have. So we can see there's my collision zones, the plus sign being the center point, and then we have the green square around it. What I can do is I'm going to come underneath here now, and I'm going to type in parrot again, and I'm going to set my collider as. Now there's a series of variables. The first one is the type. I can do this as a circle or a rectangle. The next thing is, do I want it offset from the center? So if I want it leaning left, leaning right, or where I want it. For this example, I'm going to show you as both being on the X and Y, not offset. Now the width and the radius, now I'm going to set this to 20. I'm going to show you how that changes on this. Now because I'm dealing with a circle, it'd just be 1. If I was dealing with a rectangle, again, we'd have to have 2 for both the height and the width. And if I'm going to rotate this zone as well, meaning this collision zone. Now, I have an error in my code. Let me see what it is. And looking at my code, it was something simple. The first has to be inside of parentheses, or quotation marks, I'm sorry. So I need a quotation around my circle or the rectangle, and that'll fix my code. Now, as I run this, I have another error. Let's see what that is. And again, it's showing this, where my error came up is I can't rotate a circle because the circle is going to look the same no matter how I rotate it. So by having that rotation angle in there, it was caused an error. So what you can see now is I have a really small collision center. If we look here on my parrot, I'm going to open up the radius to 100 just so you can see the difference. So I'm going to run that, and we can see that rotation or that little green area for that collision area. And again, if I want to increase this to 200 now, you're going to see it outside of there. So now it'll collide even before touching the sprite itself. Now I'm going to duplicate this really quick, and I'm going to come down here. I'm going to paste it off of my penguin, and I'm going to type in penguin, set collider, and this time I'm going to call it as a rectangle. And again, this I'm going to show you that I'm going to offset this one just to show you what it does. I'm going to offset this one by 100. The next number that I'm going to look at is my height and width, and we'll keep this at 200, and I'm going to come down to 200 as well, and I'm going to do a 45 rotation here. So we're going to see this. We can see that that collision center now is off to the right side. It's rotated and it's smaller. Not something we'd actually want to program into the game, but just to show you how we can change the different collision centers so now they don't collide until they get inside of each other. So this will be useful when you're doing some more complex collisions.